Good morning, Rabbi Isai. So we're back into the sugya of business. All the halachas of business, halacha in the workplace. A very, very important series that we started already last month. And Be'ez Hashem, we're going to try to continue to finish this month. B'siyata d'shmai. It's interesting. By the way, it's a little bit of a hakdama before we start with today's fascinating shaila. It's so interesting how this week's parsha is, of course, we just aligned Parshas Kedoshim. Parshas Kedoshim told us, Kedoshim Tiyu, right? It's an instruction, it's a command from the Rabbeinu Shalom to be holy, to elevate ourselves. That's what it is, to batar ourselves, to purify ourselves. So we would have thought that the parsha that has a command of Kedusha, of helping ourselves become Torah, become holy, would have been full of instructions and inyanim and halachas of holiness, that which of course there are. But so much of the parasha is full mole of gashmias. There's the halachas of stealing, there's the halachas of lying, all these inyanim of benadul mechaveros, all over here in this week's parasha, Parshas Kedoshim. What's the message? Obviously the message is that even, and maybe specifically, when a person is oisik, in a mundane activity, when a person is busy in the workplace, he's in the office, he's in the storehouse, he's in the warehouse, he's wherever he may be, doing business things, the Torah is telling you, it's not only when you're in the Bismedrash, when you're in Shul, when you're in the Rebbe, whatever it is, that you're oisik and holy in Yonim. But maybe the Torah is telling us specifically when a person is in business and he's doing work and he's making business deals and he's selling and he's buying and he's offering products, all sorts of things, to be careful with all the halachas, and that's how you can become Kedoshim to you. That's how you can really recognize someone that's got an emastika kedusha, because even when he's doing work and he's making money and whatever it may be, and the temptations are very, very high. I don't have to tell you, everybody knows the temptations are terrible. We'll talk about it in a few moments with today's fascinating shaila. But we have to realize that's our opportunity. That's what the Torah is telling us. The Tferes Shlomo, the Heilige Radomska, tells us a moedik avot in Parshas Toldos. The Tferes Shlomo says that when a person is oisik b'parnasa, he's busy working, and it's not shaykh for him to learn the whole day. He can't learn the whole day. It's very difficult. He's working, he's in the office, he's traveling, he's busy, offices, meetings, whatever. He can't learn the whole day. Zog the Tferes Shlomo, when a person is oisik in business and he's not stealing, and he's not lying, and he's doing the things he's meant to be doing, then says the Heilige Radomska, it's as if he was learning the whole day. That becomes his limud Torah. And therefore it's an amazing opportunity that somebody that goes out into the workplace to be able to do things and work with integrity, to make sure he's honest, to make sure he treats people correctly, all of the halachas that we've been learning and more. There's a moedik of Peliyotz. The Peliyotz writes that sometimes a situation appears to a person to be that he has to be in a deceitful way, he has to cheat, he has to lie, he has to do this in order to make money. So the Peliyotz, sometimes a situation comes in, a business deal, like there's no way I can make the money unless I lie. There's no way I can make the money unless I do something not correct. But what do you want me to do? It's an opportunity. Hashem said it, came straight from Shemayim. Avada, it must be correct. So the Heilige Peliyotz, it takes a person's real emunah in the Rabbeinu Shalom. And we spoke about this right in the beginning. If I remember correctly, the first share, the Akdama share number 1, was about that. Maybe share number 2, I don't remember. Where we spoke about all the halachas that we're dealing with, takes a person to work in his emunah and betachon in the Rabbeinu Shalom, so that he can work with integrity, with MS, and do all the halachas that he's meant to be doing. It takes a person's emunah to realize who is the one that's supplying him with the money. Where does his parnasa come from? That leads us to today's fascinating shaila. We're not going to finish it in one day, we'll probably finish it tomorrow, but it's a very important halacha, which is more common than we think it is. We'll start like this. In March 2009, 71-year-old Bernie Madoff, a businessman, stockbroker, investment advisor, and financer, pleaded guilty to what is considered the largest financial fraud in the history of the United States. Madoff confessed his prestigious investments was basically a big Ponzi scheme, one big lie. The amount outstanding from the client accounts was close to $65 billion, with a staggering $18 billion of actual losses to investors. At his trial, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 federal felonies and was sentenced to 150 years in prison. Madoff's enterprise had been swindling investors for years and years. The story finally blew up when 2 senior employees began to suspect something wasn't right. They saw they saw things just weren't adding up, something didn't make sense, something wasn't happening. They confronted Madoff at his home. He immediately admitted to the truth. These 2 senior employees reported Madoff to the federal authorities. Madoff was arrested and the scandal broke worldwide. The 2 employees that reported Madoff were his 2 sons. And the shaila sometimes comes in as follows. You're working in a business, you're working in an office. I have received the shaila numerous times from different people. You're working in an office, I see the boss or someone else, it's irrelevant who it is doing something wrong. He's messing with the accounts. The shaila, one time I remember correctly a couple of years ago, the guy left his job, had a bunch of children, he had no idea where his parnasa was going to come from, but he leapt with emunah and he said, there's no way the Rabban wants me to be in such a parnasa. Where the boss was changing the dates of certain insurance deals in order to get more money back from the insurance companies, whatever it was. Now the question is, you're in a business, you're working for someone, whether it's the boss, whether it's someone else that's working in the company. Is it mutter to be, as it's called, a whistleblower? Is that mutter al pi halacha? Is it a chiyuv sometimes? Does it make enough gemina what the situation is? That is the shaila. The term, by the way, it's interesting, the term whistleblower, actually, by the way, the Olim should know, especially in America, legal protection for whistleblowers in the United States comes all the way back to 1863, when the United States False Claims Act was enacted during the Civil War, and the term whistleblower actually derived from the concept of a referee's whistle, originated in the 1970s. Basically, it was a nicer way of saying an informer. That's what it is. Basically, it's an informer, but a nicer way of calling it is a whistleblower. Now, technically, they are protected by the law, at least in the United States. However, they very often suffer tremendous retaliation, hostility from employers, and employees as well. In some cases, they have actually undergone criminal prosecution for some of their efforts. So we're not discussing those ramifications, but let's go la halacha. Is a person allowed to tell someone else, whether it's the authorities, whether it's his boss, that someone's stealing things from the office? Right? You can have a guy who's working together with you. He's stealing things. Or let's say you're working at a car mechanic, right? And there's someone over there is messing around with the parts, selling parts that are really fake, and he's pretending they're real, charging more money. Am I allowed to tell the customers? Am I allowed to do all these things? These are common shilas that come up. Let's understand what are the shilas. First of all, there's a bunch of different categories. Category number 1 would be if there's a pekuach nefesh situation. That would mean if you're working in a company that is selling things where they are defective, they're unsafe, it could cause damage to someone's life, it could be life-threatening, whether it's a situation in a car, whether maybe it's a baby product, whatever it may be, and you know that this could be a pekuach nefesh, then avada, we'll talk about that, but that avada is a chiyuv. But sometimes it could be not a chiyuv in regards to pekuach nefesh, but sometimes it could be simply harm a person. Right? It's not going to damage the person, but it can harm him. He's not going to die from it, but he's going to be harmed by it. What's the din over there? What's the din, for example, where it's a monetary loss? Let's say the guy's going to have no harm to his body. He's going to be great, but he's going to be losing money. He's spending more money, or he's losing money by people taking supplies from the office. All these sorts of things. Am I allowed to tell if it's only a financial loss? So these are generally the shilas in that case. Again? No nafkamina. No, I mean, yeah, of course there'll be nafkaminas in the 4 shilas that we're going to discuss. If nafkamina, if it's a yid or a goy, yes. It will make a nafkamina if it's a yid or a goy. We're going to go through 4 shilas. Rabbi said we're going to go through 4 shilas. Not, as I said, not today, but I'm going to give you the Rosh Prokim to understand what are the shilas we're going to deal with. And these are the shilas negeya to whistleblowing, whether I'm allowed to report a boss or a fellow worker to doing something wrong. The 4 shilas are as follows. Number 1, toichacha. Right? There's a mitzvah, there's 6 parasha, toichacha. That's number 1. Number 2, of course, lashon hara. Number 3, lo samoy dal dam reyecha. Don't stand by while someone's blood is being shed. Doesn't mean that's only necessarily his blood, but even be his money. And number 4, of course, we have to deal with the sugya of a moisa, of someone that's informing on someone else. So these are the 4 shilas. Maybe we'll just start with one of them at this moment here. And the shaila basically is, whenever I'm about to report someone, I need to weigh these shilas. These are chiyuvim in the Torah. These are psukim in the Torah. And the question is, are they nogeya to my shaila or not? I'm about to whistleblow. I'm about to get someone into big trouble. I'm going to get the whole business closed down, or I'm going to get this guy fired. Who knows if he's going to make a parnasa, his family need a parnasa. All these ramifications come out. I have to done the following shilas. Number 1, it could be I have a chiyuv als rebuking someone. I could be a chiyuv als lo samad al dam reyecha. Don't stand there while someone's blood is being shed. On the other hand, a shaila of mesira, a shaila of lashon hara is also very, very chabor. So what do? Let's start with number 1. Rabbi said today we're going to do it number 1. Tomorrow we'll do all the other 3 be'ezus Hashem. So number 1, toichecha. We know there's a mitzvah in this week's parsha, that is, you shall surely rebuke, right? You should rebuke someone for doing someone wrong. Which would mean, if the Torah is telling us that you have to rebuke someone, so if I've got a guy in the office who's taking business supplies, or if I've got a boss who's messing around with the insurance papers, no, I have a chiyuv in the Torah. What am I meant to do about it? I've got to go along. I've got to rebuke him in that case. So I want to tell you a fascinating tshuva from a tshuva written in the 15th century by Rabbi Yaakov Weil, right? Shailas and tshuvas Mari Weil. See, he brings down, it's one of the greatest poskim in the 15th century. See, he brings down, if you look in the tshuva, in Simon Kufnan Zayin, in Shailas and tshuvas, he brings down the following kasha. He says, do I have a chiyuv to incur an expense? In other words, if it's going to cost me money, if it's going to lose me money, when I whistleblow, when I tell on someone else, am I mechuyev to be able to pay money, to lose money, basically to incur an expense in order to do the mitzvah of hoicher techer esamisecha? And he writes over there that we are vadei chayev to spend money to save a fellow Yid from pikuach nefesh, that's for sure, but not to do the mitzvah of hoicher techer esamisecha. That he says we don't have to spend money. We don't have to spend money on it, so therefore it's going to come out like this. If it's going to endanger your job, as we started today in the beginning, many of these people, even though, again, in the United States, they are protected, most of them end up losing their job, by the way. Some of them get depressed. It's terrible what happens to them. Therefore, he's paskening that if it's going to lose me my job, I'm going to lose money from it, it's going to cost me money. Yes, if it's pekuach nefesh, avada, I have to do that to save another yid, plova poshet. But if it's if I'm just rebuking someone, telling someone off, so that I'm not mechuyev. And the Ramah in Choshe Mishpat Siman Shin Lamadalet Sif Memches brings down this tshuva, and he says, Lemaisa, we are makel with the chiyuv of Hocher Tereches Hamisecha if there is a bodily or monetarily loss in any way to someone. So that is number 1. We still have to discuss Lo Samad Adam Rayecha. Don't stand by while someone's blood is being shed. Someone's losing a lot of money. You know about it. You could do something about it. Why don't you do something about it? Number 3, of course, lashon hara, and number 4, dealing with this shaila of mesira. It's a very serious shaila. Bez Hashem, tomorrow we shall finish the sugya. Have a wonderful day.